the Indiana Fever beat the Dallas Wings 102-83. This was a highly anticipated game because it was going to be the first time that Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers would be going up against one another in the WNBA.
Basketball fans have been seeing one of the most storied rivalries for the past 5 years. Paige Bueckers versus Caitlin Clark. Phenoms from high school who made different decisions. Bueckers to UConn, Clark to Iowa. Particularly in the NCAA tournament, Clark dominated their college games. Gino Arima and other critics questioned if Clark could carry over her success to the WNBA. When the Indiana Fever hosted the Dallas Wings last night, these two squared off for the first time as professionals. However, what followed was more than a game. It was Clark creating history in a manner that only she has done twice. Comment, CC Record Breaker, if you're thrilled to learn about the records that were broken that evening. Come on. Imagine this. Two young basketball stars who are causing a stir in America will face off for years to come. Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark first squared off in high school. Despite having entirely different personalities and playing styles, both were considered top recruits. Clark contributed deep three-point shooting, outstanding passing, and explosive scoring. Bueckers displayed court vision that was on par with Clark's, as well as smooth efficiency and a lovely mid-range.
Hey, Caitlin. You've known Paige since middle school, AAU. You guys were on the U19 World Cup team together. Is there anything that maybe stood out then about her, whether it be on or off the court, that maybe still reigns true today?
I mean, I feel like she's played in the same manner that she, has since she was, whether we were on the U16 team together, U19 team together, whether it was me watching her in AAU. She's always just been smooth. She takes what the game gives her. Her midi has always been as nice as it's been this year. She just plays way older than she is. She's confident, she's smooth, she just does everything at a high level, can score from all three levels, and that's how she's always played, and that's obviously translated really well.
Their collegiate careers took very different turns. Bueckers joined a family that had won numerous titles by enrolling in Gino Arima's renowned UConn program. Clark chose Iowa, a program eager to make a name for itself on the largest platform. This choice paved the way for thrilling NCAA tournament matches that would define the legacy of both players. In March Madness, Clark's Iowa squad dashed Bueckers' hopes for the UConn. When it mattered most, Clark put on incredible performances, such as a 41-point masterpiece that sent the Huskies home early. She defeated Bueckers in 2 of their 3 college games by outperforming him head-to-head. Fans and basketball commentators began to take sides, resulting in an almost legendary rivalry that extended beyond college basketball.
And a lot of people are saying, oh, everything is she was Caitlin before Caitlin, she's better than Caitlin and all this stuff. That kind of stopped in the media. Caitlin Clark put up better numbers in the WNBA than Paige did in college.
Clark's game was specifically criticized by Gino Aria. In contrast to his own star Buecker, he questioned her choice of shots and her preparedness for the WNBA. Bueckers' principles, in Arima's opinion, would be more applicable at the professional level. Bueckers' fluid efficiency and Clark's explosive scoring demonstrated 2 distinct approaches to basketball greatness.
And Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
Fans were curious about when the 2 women will finally play together as pros after they both declared for the WNBA. With a 2:1 college edge and fresh concerns about her pro game, the scene was set for their first WNBA matchup. There was a great deal of anticipation. Knowing that this contest would attract fans from all around the nation, ABC decided to broadcast it nationally. This clash was even more important for Clark's reputation because of her recent fever troubles.
Talking to our player development coach yesterday, and he was just sent me a few things of even Steph going through a slump. I think he was 27 for his last 70 or something like that. The best in the world go through it, and I think that's where you can find your confidence. And I think the thing I always fall back on is like, I know how hard I've worked. So, this isn't something that's going to last, and the best players in the world go through this. So I feel like I'm getting good shots, and I think that's why it's frustrating, because those are the shots that I make.
This is the interesting part, though. Prior to this huge confrontation, Clark's Fever was struggling mightily. The Indiana Fever had just lost 2 teams they ought to have defeated in humiliating fashion. They suffered losses from the Golden State Valkyries and LA Sparks that left fans perplexed. These weren't strong teams. The Fever should have been able to easily defeat these lineups.
I feel like this stretch, this is a big game for us. I think we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game, and then we play a bad game, then we play a good game, then we play a bad game. So I think for us is like, we got to find a way to be able to stack really good games together. And then we go on the road, and we're on a back-to-back, which is just a challenge in itself. No matter who you're playing, we play Connecticut, then we play New York. So I think Steph's message was, yes, All-Stars coming up, that break's coming up, but our focus is on these 3 games that we have left. So in that sense, I do think it's critical that our focus just remains on the game in front of us. And I feel like that's what everybody in the locker room is doing.
Behind the scenes, Coach Stephanie White's calmer method and Clark's fast-paced vision were engaged in a philosophical battle. Clark aimed to accelerate the pace and generate chances for rapid breaks. A more controlled half-court style of play was what White favored. There was genuine conflict within the group as a result of this difference in basketball ideology. White's approach prevented Clark from using his explosive style of transition basketball, which was how he flourished. A pivotal event occurred at the precise moment of Clark and White's heated sideline altercation during the Atlanta Dream game. Every syllable of their heated conversation was captured on camera. The extent of their conflict was made evident by the obvious anger and disagreement between them.
There is definitely something going on within the locker room, the front office. Something is off, man. This is the 3rd situation in one game we have had involving Caitlin Clark and the coaching staff and pretty much another player. And it looked like Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White definitely had a situation where they was in a heated exchange right before half.
Inconsistencies in the lineup made matters worse. After recovering from an injury, Clark was attempting to regain her rhythm. After playing for her country, Dairis Dantas had returned. Their chemistry was totally upset by these modifications. Establishing reliable rotations and attacking flow was difficult for the team. With important parts arriving and going, players were still finding out their responsibilities. It was agonizing to witness the irritating errors that afflicted the Fever. Game after game, missed shots accumulated. Promising possessions were destroyed by turnovers. There was none of the fast break magic Clark loved. According to Clark, I think we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game and then we play a bad game, then we play a good game, then we play a bad game. During this period, Clark's shooting issues became a big worry. Despite acknowledging that she was in a rut, she maintained her confidence. She said, "I'm never going to stop shooting," likening her predicament to Steph Curry's sporadic cold stretches. When the Fever finally ended their losing streak against Atlanta, it was the tipping point. Although they prevailed in that match, tensions between White and Clark persisted. The philosophical disagreement remained unresolved. It was just placed on hold.
It can be frustrating when your shot isn't going in the way that you want it to, but then I look at the box and it's like, I'm really 4 shots away from having a really good game, a really good shooting game. So that's where you find your confidence, and I know those are shots that I can make, and I'm never going to stop shooting. So, until I break out of it, I'm just going to keep launching, and that's all I know, and I'm still confident in everything that I can do.
The final test was the Dallas game. Would Clark's favorite style finally be unleashed by White? Or would the team's potential still be hampered by the philosophical divide? This internal conflict created the ideal environment for Bueckers' encounter with Clark, who was eager to demonstrate that her strategy could succeed in the workplace. Then a miraculous event occurred. At last, Stephanie White granted Clark all she had been requesting. White made the critical choice to let Clark run the offense and set the pace against Dallas. This was more than a minor change. White entirely altered her strategy and put her faith in Clark to guide the group at the speed she desired.
Lee Rue the other night had a season-high 18 points. Here's Boston turning the corner. Dishing to Hull. Extra feed Clark. A deep 3. You bet! And he actually brought up stats from a shooting slump Steph Curry went through. She said that made her feel a lot better. That pass will as well, right on the money to Mitchell.
Cunningham attacked the closeout.
Clark, the rejection of Quinterly. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, beautifully done. Touchdown Fever.
It was unclear early in the game whether this tactic would be successful because both sides were getting to know one another in the first quarter. The Fever appeared okay, but not particularly impressive. They were gradually settling into a rhythm. The real fireworks had not yet begun, but Clark was engaging her colleagues. The game felt competitive, and the Wings were keeping up.
Here's Clark being hawked by Isaiah James. Clark sidestepping three is good. Clark backing down Quinterly. 6 to shoot, baiting away and dropping it in. Beautiful. Here's Clark off the screen, through the lane, feeds Howard. Another assist for Clark. That's 13 as Howard is up to 18 points.
Then everything clicked during the spectacular second quarter. Clark began to move faster than ever. With those full-court passes, which fans refer to as touchdown passes, she was locating teammates. In just one quarter, the Fever scored an astounding 36 points. In just 10 minutes, they outscored Dallas by 21 points. It was more than just excellent basketball. This was the poetry of basketball in action.
And he actually brought up stats from a shooting slump Steph Curry went through. She said that made her feel a lot better. That pass will as well, right on the money to Mitchell. A tenacious start from Caitlin Clark. Here's Agumbawale off on a three. Long rebound. Mitchell, you're not going to catch her. Kelsey Mitchell in for two. They elevate each other because of how hard they compete. Nice look. Aaliyah Boston with a gorgeous dime to Kelsey Mitchell.
Clark's teammates had incredible reactions to her leadership. With 20 points on 8 of 12 shots, Kelsey Mitchell lit up the court. She has now scored in double figures in 21 games. Mitchell was taking advantage of Clark's vigor and speed by making shots from every angle. Natasha Howard finished with 18 points on an effective 8 of 9 shooting while sprinting around the court like a gazelle. Howard attacked the rim, seemed unstoppable. Inside, Aaliyah Boston was in charge, controlling the paint with her strength and bulk. She was taking advantage of every chance Clark gave her. Boston and Clark had the ideal chemistry. With her quickness, Clark would attract defenders before locating Boston for simple baskets.
Mitchell bounces. Boston, one more time. This time Mitchell delivering. And Boston up to 13 points. Indiana shooting 66%.
This is what really set this performance apart. In the first half, the Fever scored a franchise-high 64 points. They were playing the most exquisite basketball of the season. The previous record of 63 points, established against the New York Liberty in 2016, was surpassed by this. Additionally, the WNBA team's highest scoring half of the 2025 season was 64 points. Clark contributed 13 of the Fever's 30 assists, which tied a team record. This demonstrated that, given the freedom to do so, she could improve everyone around her. Clark was doing more than just scoring. She was improving her teammates. It was amazing how the ball moved. Each pass served a purpose. Every item felt perilous. The Fever were unstoppable thanks to Sophie Cunningham, who added another scoring danger off the bench. Cunningham reached 1,500 career points with 13 points, including a driving layup. Her vigor and shooting prowess provided the Fever an additional weapon that Dallas was unable to deal with.
Cunningham swiftly up the floor, finds Howard for two. Sophie Cunningham making a huge impact off the bench, and Dallas will take a timeout.
In this lineup, Natasha Howard is the quickest post player on.
The 36 points scored in the second quarter tied for the third highest quarterly total in Fever franchise history. During this time, the team's field goal percentage was 76.2%. For almost 8 minutes, they went on a scorching 33-9 run. This vigor and tempo was beyond the Wings' capabilities. The Wings were unable to keep up with Indiana's speed and intensity, and the game ended up being a total blowout. Dallas appeared worn out and perplexed. The Fever's transition game was too much for them to handle. At the professional level, Clark's idea for fast-paced basketball was operating flawlessly. This was more than a victory. It demonstrated that fast-paced basketball, as envisioned by Clark, could succeed at the professional level. At last, White had let loose the monster, and the outcome was momentous.
Good dub. 2 in a row. 2 more to All-Star. Let's go.
W. Oh, Fever does. You already know what's coming. Bow, bow, bow. On to the next. Hell yeah! Can you use that one? Let's go, baby. Give your jersey to Kristen. W. Now we gotta go get another one.
However, this is the moment that people will always remember. Clark did not simply prevail. She created history in the WNBA. Clark was quietly putting together a stat line that has only been accomplished once in WNBA history while controlling the game. On the court, she was doing everything, setting up teammates flawlessly and scoring when necessary. Then, on defense, something unique began to occur. Throughout the game, the numbers were increasing. With 14 points, Clark demonstrated her ability to score well without forcing shots. She shone her ability to improve everyone around her with 13 assists. The defensive plays then began to appear. Like a mind reader, Clark was reading the passing lanes. Even before the wing made a move, she was predicting what it would do next.
Bounce. Clark backing down Quinterly. 6 to shoot, fading away and dropping it in. Beautiful mid-range fadeaway from Caitlin Clark.
This is the precise moment that created history. Clark finished the game with a stat line of 14 points, 13 assists, and 5 thefts, including her 5th steal. As a result, Clark became the only player in WNBA history to accomplish this particular combo twice during her career. As of right now, she is the first player in WNBA history to record this stat line twice in a single game. Beyond those 5 steals, Clark had a significant defensive influence. She recorded a block that gave Sophie Cunningham a fast break assist right away. Her full court awareness and ability to generate scoring opportunities through defensive plays were demonstrated in this play. Her ability to anticipate was interfering with the wing's offensive rhythm. When Clark was on defense, every possession felt risky.
Clark, the rejection of Quinterly. Clark, the flick ahead. Oh, beautifully done. Touchdown, Fever.
Sophie Cunningham runs the route and puts her hand up in the air, gives Caitlin Clark the target. Barely over the fingertips of Hines Allen. Beautiful, beautiful pass. Catch, in stride, finish. Beautiful basketball.
Clark's entire game eluded Paige Bueckers and the Wings. Orike Unali finishing with just 2 points after going 0 for 10 from the field was the most revealing statistic. Despite being one of the best players on the wing, Orike was rendered entirely ineffectual by Clark's defensive pressure and the Fever's team defense. This crucial player's subpar performance demonstrated the Fever's complete superiority. The wing's physical approach to Clark was a total failure. Instead of switching screens, they ended up pulling her off the ball. Because Clark used their aggressiveness to locate open teammates and drive to the basket, this strategy was unsuccessful. She always managed to make them pay for their attempts to physically slow her down. The entire tale was revealed by the final score of 102-83. Every critic and doubter who questioned Clark's preparedness for the WNBA had been addressed and silenced. It was more than just a good game. She demonstrated that she belonged among the top players in the league with this powerful performance. Clark wasn't just adjusting to the WNBA, as her historic performance demonstrated. At the professional level, she was rewriting what was feasible. Clark had written the first few paragraphs in a commanding manner, and the contest with Bueckers had entered a new phase.
I feel like this was one of their best games as far as playing Fever basketball, which is a fast-paced style of basketball. They played Fever basketball for, I would say, about 75 to 80% of the game. And we have obviously seen this style of basketball, the style of basketball that we all know and love from the Indiana Fever, but we have only really seen it in short spurts. There have been so many games and so many times throughout this season where it feels like the Fever system is a slow down basketball type of system. They're their offense wasn't running smoothly. But in this game, they were playing quick. They were moving the ball around. They had so many points off of the fast.
This completes the prophecy. By creating history that only she can claim, Clark has demonstrated that she is a member of the WNBA's elite. When Clark is allowed to play her style of basketball, the Fever's true potential is demonstrated by this decisive victory over Bueckers and the Wings. Franchise records declined. Each person's accomplishments accumulated. Most significantly, when White trusted Clark's vision, the team chemistry finally clicked. Basketball fans have every reason to be enthusiastic about what lies ahead as the second half of 2025 draws near, and this rivalry is just starting its professional chapter. The Fever's upcoming road games against Connecticut and New York will be difficult. Comment CC Record Breaker if you're thrilled about the Fever now that Clark is back. To ensure you never miss anything, like, subscribe, and enable all notifications. Click the video on the screen, and we'll see you in the next.